Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. They said they wanted me to talk about it. Essentially, Drake is suing or threatening to sue. Drake has filed a petition. Your boy DELRAY, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Yeah, we're gonna wait for some people to come up in here. They wanted me to talk about this one, so I decided to delve in. Waiting for some more people to come up in here. We can talk about it. This one is ironic. This one is ironic. Black Cash Dreams. Kel's back. What's good? Thank y'all for tuning in. We're going to talk about this. This is the most hypocritical move that the music industry has ever seen from one of the most popular artists in the last decade. And I'm going to tell you why. And then on the flip side, they're trying now to picture, or should I say, paint this as something else, and Drake advocating for artist rights and streaming, which he was not doing prior to losing the battle against Kendrick Lamar. The same formula that Universal Music would use, and I'm not going to say it's illegal for, like I said, by no stretch of anybody's imagination. The same formula that Universal Music Group used to make Drake famous, they use to bolster Kendrick Lamar's career. And so for Drake to come out now and act as if he's being a staunch advocate for artists' rights from that perspective is a bit hypocritical now that he's lost the battle. Stuart Harris, how you doing? West Philly in the building. So yeah, I'm gonna wait for a couple more people come in and we're gonna talk about it. Very important. Like I said, for the people who follow music, who understands what it is, why it is. Q Smooth, what's up? Let's go. So look, man, the other day, Drake filed a petition, not an actual lawsuit. Drake filed a petition with the court to basically have certain individuals where he can do depositions and find out more information. So basically, in turn of events, Drake had felt like he was ripped off, and this is a hand grenade basically for the music industry, if you will. You got to understand how important this is on one front, but on another front, it's kind of hypocritical because it comes on the fact that Kendrick Lamar is now going to be performing at the Super Bowl. And it seems like me, it comes with a tinge bit of jealousy, if you will, on Drake's behalf. Because when Drake was at the top of the food chain and nobody could stop him, hit after hit after hit after hit, he was cool with what Universal was doing for him in his career. Right? Yeah. Black Cash Dreams, that's how they do with all hit songs. Any song that you hear on the radio 10, 15 times a day, from Taylor Swift to Not Like Us to Drake songs, to anybody's songs, and I'm going to point you out the difference and show you how it really, truly, honestly works. But this has been the practice for who knows how long, right? So what I'm saying to you, now that Drake had lost the battle, after he lost the battle to Kendrick Lamar, right? Now he wants to try to rectify the situation that actually worked for him. It's a bit hypocritical. And then say, right? And then say, on top of that, he's now threatening or considering a lawsuit against Universal Music for what? for defamation, for what Kendrick Lamar said in his song, which is freedom of speech, if you will. It's a slippery slope, if you want to go that route. But let's delve into this, right? So basically, Drake basically is saying that Universal Music Group and Spotify, and he basically said his ego is not bruised, but it seems like that, right? They basically conspired to bolster Kendrick Lamar's numbers on Spotify. Not only did they do that, right? This is a bombshell. You got to really pay attention to this one, right? And it's full of a lot of high stake legal maneuvers, in where some things might get exposed. But I can tell you from this point on, Drake's relationship with Universal Music is forever going to be soured after this move. There's no coming back from this one. Like I said, because the same thing that they did for Kendrick Lamar, right? The same thing that they did for Kendrick Lamar, they did for Drake. And Kendrick Lamar didn't come out and was like, well, they doing this thing for Drake, and they, partnered up with Spotify and blah, 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 blah. It was Drake's business or responsibility not to take debate with Kendrick Lamar and trying to battle him, and knowing he was not proficient enough to battle Kendrick Lamar because he really doesn't write his own lyrics. That's mistake number one. That's mistake number one. Mistake number two is this move right here, right? Drake and his company, Frozen Moments LLC, that's sending shockwaves through the music industry. Basically, the targets of the most powerful entities in the music industry, Universal Music Group and Spotify. His allegations basically read like a thriller of secret deals, streaming manipulation, and conspiracies, so intricate that they're straight out of a John Grisham novel. This is not a secret. This is not nothing new in the music industry, y'all, right? And so everything that we hear on the radio is bought and paid for. It's called a campaign. It's called marketing and promotion, right? So now Drake lost the battle against Kendrick Lamar. His career will never be the same. It'll never be viewed the same. It'll never be none of that, right? So now Kendrick is now going to be performing at the Super Bowl. You can only imagine how Drake felt about that. Remember, he had that song Super Bowl and all of this, that, and the other, right? You can only imagine that he feels like his success and his popularity is slipping away. Mind you, listen to this. Remember, they had just done a $400 million deal involving publishing, involving Drake's rights to his music, involving live, other events, visual events and things like that, and dealing with Drake. Now, after they did that deal, once again, in $400 million being basically, I would say, given to Drake under certain conditions, and saying if certain conditions are met, but $400 million, because at that particular point, like most artists, Drake has the hits, the publishing, and all of those things. So they did the deal for $400 million. Shortly after that, now Universal is in pocket. They own basically what they need to own. So shortly after that, here comes this beef. And so when the beef came about, I was like, well, what's this about? Aren't Kendrick Lamar and Drake under the same umbrella, meaning the Universal Music Group umbrella, right? That's what I'm thinking, like, well, what is this? It was kind of like Kanye and 50, right? They were both under the Universal Music Group umbrella, if you will, right? So now I'm like, I'm like, this is career suicide for Drake if you want to be technically sound, because Drake has a worldwide following, more fans than I would say at Kendrick at that particular time, right? But Drake decided to take on, I don't know who told him to, I don't know if they told him at the label, hey, this would be a great thing for publicity, so on and so. I don't know who told him to take on this challenge, but he took on the challenge. They dropped a few songs, and then They Not Like Us came out, right? They Not Like Us came out, and It was dope. It was awesome. But once again, when it came out, it wasn't really mainstream. It was for the people who were listening for in the underground and who were, into the disc culture and things like that, the battle rap culture, right? But pretty soon we started to hear it on the radio. We started to hear about the articles being written about how many streams it had gotten, right? And all of this, all of the popularity and all of the marketing and the promotion and getting it to the news, the magazine people and them writing about it, right? Bolstering the attention on it. Okay, boom. Then comes the video. But before that, Drake had basically conceded in one of the diss raps that he had came out with, and he said something similar to, "I don't feel like I should diss you anymore." Basically, with that being said, it said that he had lost. He had lost the battle, right? Remember, the origins of which this comes from, this is hip hop. The battle rap has always been a essential part of hip hop and what it's about. Okay, so now that's the grassroots aspect of it. Now let's get into the business aspect of it. The business aspect of it is marketing, promotion, radio play, um, television interviews, people talking about it, right? So basically, Drake knows how the game works because the game has worked for him in the same manner that it worked for Kendrick Lamar. Please do not think that Drake, the songs that Drake was putting out, that if Universal is guilty of anything, they're guilty of doing the same exact thing that they've done for Drake. Listen to me. These songs do not jump to number one like that. It doesn't happen like that. Drake was not that hellified of an artist. We're talking about versus artists who write their own material, right? LL Cool J just put out an album, and you don't hear that on no mainstream radio stations. LL Cool J has his own Rock the Bells radio on Sirius XM satellite, in which he plays more underground and unheard of artists from back in the day and currently than mainstream radio does, than more than he plays his own records. So let's be clear about what this was really about. So now, Drake now, after he loses, Drake comes out basically, in the legal complaint, he makes accusations that there's a lot of shady tactics and artificially boost Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us. And basically they're saying if it's true, it's a move that not only disrespects competition, but could violate federal laws, right? But this is nothing new. The record industry has paid fines for payola before and all of these things, but this is something that you're not supposed to talk about, right? Especially from Drake's perspective, you know, because Drake has benefited from this. This is the hypocritical part to me about it, if you will, right? So to deep dive into the accusations, the streaming shenanigans, basically saying the lawsuit suggests that Universal Music Group and Spotify inflated streaming numbers for Kendrick Lamar's track using artificial means like bots and shadowy algorithms pushing a narrative. This is not nothing new. It happens every day. As a matter of fact, it actually happens on YouTube. You know, this YouTube is algorithmically controlled, and they push out what they push out. Sometimes what's trending, sometimes what's popular, and all of those things. This is the game, right? The bots, people using illegal bots to make comments, to make it seem like things are better than they are. People also have their numbers of their subscribers, not as many subscribers as they say they have. They boast of those too. For people can think that, hey, you know, this person has, 7 million subscribers versus this person has 8 million subscribers. This person has 4 million subscribers. But then when you look at the numbers of the numbers that the videos are doing, you see 4,000 or 5,000 views in an hour. And it's like, dude, you're supposed to have, 3 million subscribers. How in the hell you got 5,000 views in 1 hour? That's not even 1% of your subscriber base, not even watching the video. So what it says to me is there's a bigger problem when you think about this. So listen, So there may be some truth to this, but like I'm telling you, if there is any truth to it, Drake was the one who benefited from it before Kendrick Lamar benefited from it. That's how he knows where all the bodies are hidden and what to say. Listen. So basically, Drake said they were using bots and shadowy algorithms, right? Pushing a narrative. They call that marketing, right? And now Drake is saying also payola. Drake claims this wasn't just about the numbers, but about old school pay for play schemes dressed up for the streaming era, right? The legal dynamic of it all is the RICO Act, right? To make his case, Drake's team invoked the RICO Act, a law famously used against mafia syndicates. The message: this isn't just business, it's organized crime. So Drake's basically saying now, this is not business, that what they did for Kendrick Lamar. This is basically organized crime. This is an organized syndicate of people who have been pulling over these schemes and things for years. Remember, Michael Jackson did the song, what he say? I'm tired of injustice. I'm tired of these schemes, right? Michael Jackson understood what it was also. A lot of people had something said about that, right? So now, but Drake saying, no, this isn't about business. It's about organized crime. And how they make someone famous. You know, they say what they say, stars are not born, they're created in the music industry, right? Right. And so now, basically, beyond the legal implications, Drake is basically saying, hey, you know what? He's calling the alleged breach of industry ethics, suggesting these practices undermine the integrity of streaming and music rankings. I would have to agree. The best music is not always heard. When we hear something on the radio, it's not because the people chose it to be there. It's because it's bought and paid for. And Drake was a poster child for what that was. He didn't write his own lyrics. He came from a television TV show, the Disney syndicate, if you will, right? Drake was a star that was created. He was not born. Let's be clear about that. So in making any kind of argument in regards to this, like I said, it's a bit hypocritical now that Drake knows that his career has taken a downturn in regards to what it was that he was at one time and what he's going to be from this point forward. And with these accusations that he just made right there, he made a left turn down a hill. You know, when you come after the music industry like this is what this is. He was supposed to, they have certain covenants and things like that. Certain things you're not supposed to speak about, especially when you've been allowed to live in a mansion and make millions of dollars, right? Kanye West talked about how he was not allowed to tour on his own unless it was with a big company in which the record company had a business relationship with, right? He wasn't allowed to take just independent tour dates, you know, because it was big business. You know, everybody had to get paid. And the money kind of flowed in like one circle. So this is what Drake is basically exposing. It's been like this, you know, with the Ticketmaster thing, you know, and they talked about how Ticketmaster had a lock on the tickets and things like that, you know, involving certain companies, Live Nation, and so on and so forth, right? So, but then when we talk about that, he's, like I said, Drake is basically saying, hey, you know what? This is organized crime now. You know, I'm telling. You know what I mean? No, I'm telling, you know, y'all set him up to beat me. He beat me. And now I'm coming out and I'm telling on him. And I'm telling on all y'all is what Drake say he gonna do. Right? But Drake basically, they saying this is not a temper tantrum. It's a carefully calculated move. And basically a lot of legal experts have already been, you know, comparing, you know, the Young Thug's high profile YSL RICO case, right? Drake's strategy signals a broader intent to expose the industry-wide flaws and advocate for artists' rights in the digital era by filing a pre-action petition not an actual case, but a pre-action petition under the New York law. His team is laying the groundwork for what could be an epic courtroom showdown. True. That part right there is true. What Drake is trying to make them do is show your hand. Prove me that I'm a liar and that we're not telling the truth. The reason why Drake would know these things, because they did it for him. And so on one end, people say, well, everybody thought that he was suing Kendrick Lamar, but he's not suing Kendrick Lamar, right? And then this is not the only petition that he filed. He just filed another one. And basically in which he was saying that, hey, you know what? I might sue Universal Music for defamation for allowing Kendrick Lamar to call me a pedophile and capitalizing off the fact that he called me a pedophile when they could have stopped it and took it out of the and made him, change those lyrics. They also do that too. If you say something that the music industry executives don't like, when they, pre-listen to the music before they release it and they don't like it, they say, hey, you got to take that out. Right? So this is not nothing untrue, right? So basically, the numbers game. It's like I said, once again, it's always been about that. That's the reason why I respect the Tupac situation in the Tupac era, right? Because you had physical records. Not to say that it wasn't being done back then, but you had to go to the store and cop records. And sometimes they had record companies that would come in and buy up, 50,000 buy records back and then put them back in the stores to bolster the first week's numbers, right? So the numbers game, how the streaming gets sketchy. You know what I mean? So when people talking about, oh yeah, this person is doing these numbers and this person is doing those numbers, but they said the numbers game, how the streaming, it looks sketchy. Drake lawsuit touches on a sore spot for the music industry, the shady underbelly of streaming platforms. The allegations highlight the potential systemic problem, including this now, artificial streaming inflation, fake listens that boost charts and royalties. This is not a joke. There was a guy who just recently got sued for a few $1 million who had created a computer program, right? And he had put all of these songs on on Spotify and all of these places, and they sued him for millions because they were paying him millions and millions of dollars in royalties for songs that he never had nothing to do with, right? That he put up there, but he made the streaming program that he created, right? Stream the songs, and stream it millions and millions of times, so much so that they were paying him hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in royalties. This is real, right? This actually happened, right? So basically, Drake is saying, the artificial streaming inflation, fake listens. So it ain't even real. It ain't even real. So we getting hyped up about who is the best and what's the best, and half of the shit ain't even real. I got my music on Spotify. You check down in the link into this video and you can click on my music, right? My music is as good as any of theirs, right? But you won't see my stuff promoted like that because, once again, it's algorithmically promoted. It's bought and it's paid for. You look on there, what you see popping up in front of your face all the time through the advertising and the marketing promote, all of that's bought and paid for. To tell you that something is more popular than it actually is, to get you to believe it. What do you know? You don't know about the intricacies of artificial streaming and mathematics and things like that. As far as artists are concerned, you don't know nothing about it. You just know the artist that you like, and yeah, it's hot. Ice Cube just put out an album. I think Ice Cube album is dope. Ice Cube's not affiliated with any big label though, right? So you're not gonna hear Ice Cube's record like you're gonna hear a Drake's record or Kendrick's record. You understand you see what I'm saying? So when you understand the real behind what's going on, Snoop just put out a record. It's affiliated with Interscope and all of that, but I wouldn't say that it's getting the play that Doggy Style did. I think the quality of work, to me, is not on the same level that they did when they did Doggy Style. They used that that George Clinton funk, and just that hard, that knocking thing. You know what I mean? I think that was the thing that really made that work when they dropped that, along with all of the drama that was surrounding, what Snoop was going through at that time. Once again, 50 Cent, the same thing. The drama that he was, going through at that time. But those records were great records, had great songs, right? So does Drake, so does Kendrick. But we talking about now the manipulation that Drake is alleging that benefited him. He's now frustrated at the fact that it has stopped him from now being the person that he was seen as being at the top of the totem pole, if you will, right? They got bot networks, BOT networks, bot networks. Listen, because it's serious. Bot networks, automated programs, potentially driving fake streams. So what they're saying, they got a program that's going on here targeting, what he was saying was Kendrick Lamar's song, Not Like Us, just keep on streaming it and streaming it and streaming it and streaming it and streaming it, with not actual real people streaming it, bolstering the numbers. This is what Drake's saying that they did for Kendrick. And then he talks about the payola tactics. The payola tactics Drake is talking about, the digital era, a resurrection of underhanded deals to manipulate exposure. That's very important. That's very important. It's always done. I'll give you this. You can't call a radio station. If it's a song that you like, it might be minimally popular from an artist that just came out or whatever. You couldn't call a radio station and ask them to play that artist. They're not going to play it. It's not part of their playlist. It hasn't been paid for to be played in the same time, in the same driving time, around about 5 o'clock when everybody on the road, you know what I mean? Played 3 or 4 times in 2 hours. You see what I'm saying? Those records that get played like that are paid to be played like that. It's called marketing. You're marketing a product. That's not illegal, right? That's not illegal. And so, but what Drake is saying is that there are other payola tactics that go along with that and that formulate that same thing in these underhanded deals to manipulate the exposure, right? And if this is proven true, these practices could spark regulatory scrutiny and a reevaluation of how streaming platforms operate. Ain't nothing gonna get done. It's too much money involved. They got too many lobbyists. They got too many. Ain't nothing gonna be done. If you can go back and you can pull up and you can Google it right now, where they talked about payola being discovered before, and all they did was pay a fine. And basically, it's still being done. It's never gonna stop, right? So Drake coming out saying this, like I said, once again, the hypocritical part is Drake benefited from this. These same practices Drake are now complaining about has made him a millionaire, right? And so now he's mad because he lost the battle. And in losing the battle, now Kendrick Lamar is dropping a new album right before the Super Bowl. Everybody's, basically waiting for Kendrick, you know what I mean? He just did the new song, channeling the Tupac thing. People are loving that. Drake tried to come and diss Kendrick Lamar with an alleged AI feature from Tupac, which everybody felt like was disrespectful at the time, right? So with that being said, the Tupac thing is actually working for Kendrick Lamar, and it backfired on Drake. Even though Drake bought Tupac's king ring, the ruby and diamond ring, even though Drake bought that ring, he's not wearing the crown right now. Kendrick is wearing the crown right now. As far as hip hop is concerned, I understand the business aspect of what's going on. Well, once again, I don't think that Streets is watching. I hear what you're saying in regard if they did that. It's not the same thing. The Super Bowl is a televised event that's televised around the world. It wouldn't get the same attention. Once again, see, this is what we're talking about. Let's go back, right? Let's go back. Payola tactics. This is what Drake's saying. Payola tactics, the digital era resurrection of underhanded deals to manipulate exposure. You got to understand, like I said, you trying to, that's David versus Goliath. That's a David versus Goliath move. You can't go against what they're gonna do at the Super Bowl and compare, and no diss to Lil Wayne, the Hot Boys, and all of that. They definitely could throw a concert and people gonna show up, but it's not gonna be big as the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? The Super Bowl is an orchestrated event with millions and billions of dollars on the line as far as advertising. Commercials cost $4, $5, $6 million for 30 seconds. It's a whole nother ball game. You understand what I'm saying? So when you understand that aspect of it, then you understand absolutely the Super Bowl is a juggernaut. You know what I mean? But like I said, once again, potential industry. But like I said, this is an earthquake for the industry. The stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just about one diss track or two artists. Drake lawsuit has the potential to upend the way streaming platforms handle data, royalty, and transparency for artists. It could be a long overdue reckoning, a moment where the scales finally tip towards fairness in a system many view as exploitative. Now listen, true. You only hear certain artists over and over and over again. Certain artists are on tour, certain artists always getting the breaks. This is not by mistake. It is by design. So on the one end, but see, this is on the Drake decline that this is happening. You know what I'm saying? On the decline. You know what I mean? So, like I said, once again, when he was moving on the upward trajectory, right? Going and selling millions of records, selling out shows. Drake was quiet because all of these same tactics were working for him. You understand what I'm saying? Now that Kendrick has crushed his career when he chose to participate in a battle that one, if he thought about before he participated in it, knew that he couldn't win. Number two, if he thought about it, or I don't know who advises him in his camp, be like, nah, we're not going to take debate with this one. You just did a $400 million deal. Now it's time to, you know what, boom. But like I said, we got to know what really went on behind it. Was anybody at the label saying, hey, this would be great, you know what I mean? Great publicity for you and Kendrick, because it worked more for Kendrick than it did for Drake. Because it introduced Kendrick to a whole world of fans that Drake had, right? And took those fans into now liking Kendrick Lamar. And now with this Super Bowl move, Kendrick Lamar will now be introduced to a whole nother plethora of worldwide fans who are football fans. You understand what I'm saying? So now it's time to make the money that they made off of Drake, off of Kendrick. It's all business. But now Drake is saying, hey, you know what? Hold up, man. Y'all can't do the same thing for Kendrick that y'all did to me. And that's the part where people are upset with Drake about this from that perspective. Drake talked about situations involving Kendrick's family in his diss records, and Kendrick said what he said. It's a diss record. Let that be that. You understand what I'm saying? Now he's talking about suing Universal for defamation and blah, 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 because Kendrick's impact on the record that he did have had a greater impact on Drake's career than what Drake said about Kendrick. You understand what I'm saying? So, so they're basically saying on side of that, this is what can happen. For fans, it's equally significant. If streaming services are forced to clean house, it could mean more accurate charts, honest metrics, and perhaps even an end to murky manipulation of our favorite playlists. Once again, you can pay to be on playlists. I'm going to say it one more time. They have certain playlists that they push out there that, oh, you listen to the such and such playlist? Is your record on this playlist? Ice Cube talked about this a long time ago, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, Ice Cube talked about this a long time ago, and nobody was listening because everybody wants to like what they want to like. Oh my God, I think Drake he's so cute, he's so this, he's so that, and Drake makes good music, for the camp and the people that he deals with and the music that he's made hit records, he sold millions of records. The women love him, and so on and so forth, right? Kendrick Lamar, the same thing, just not as much. But now, once again, Kendrick is in the lane, right? Kendrick is in the lane. And so when we talk about what it is, now Kendrick just dropped a new album, right? Boom, here it go. You know what? 2 months from now, it's gonna be the Super Bowl. Kendrick's on the Super Bowl. Boom. You know, people not talking about Drake no more. Drake is feeling it now, right? So what I would recommend Drake do if he wants to do music, just get back and put your head down and do what you do, right? But see, notice when the beef thing was going on, we saw about how many people had streamed the Kendrick album. Drake lost the battle, blah blah blah. Once again, the narrative, and who controls the narrative and what gets said and why it gets said, right? Drake is also mad about that. You know what I mean? And he talks about that. He's saying basically, these fake streams and fake digital era resurrection of underhanded deals to manipulate exposure. Because if you pay an artist, let's say for instance, a record label signed an artist, they pay him $1 million up front, right? They're gonna want to get that money back. How you gonna get the money back? You got to set it up so this guy is placed. He's gonna do Jimmy Kimmel. He's gonna do all of these other nighttime shows. He's gonna do Drink Champs. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do all of these other media outlets to create the visibility and the narrative behind what he's doing. It's just that simple, right? And it also depends on how the artist contract looks. If it looks favorable for the record company, they're gonna do that even more because they know that the bottom line benefits them more to invest a few million up front to make a couple $100 million on the back end. You understand what I'm saying? Kendrick dropped a new album. He gonna be on the Super Bowl. Boom. Automatic sales, streams, notoriety, exposure. Shortly after that, boom, we hit a tour, right? Now he's going on a 100-city tour. That's money, right? This is how the game works. So you can get 2-3 million up front. That ain't nothing. But guess what? When it's time to come play ball and hit that city, hit them 100 cities, you best believe most of that money is coming back to the record label because they already done the deal with Live Nation or whoever your concert promoter is. They didn't already paid them up front. They gave them $50 million and said, yeah, Kendrick's agreed to do the tour. He's going to do the tour, and then he go on tour. And like I said, you straight, though. You got your 3 million, 4 million, 5 million up front. You know what I mean? You cool, you good, boom. And now you just going out to do what you like to do. But most of that money goes back to who? The record label. They already did the deal with Live Nation. Live Nation gave them 30, 40 million. And that's no game. It ain't no game. It ain't nothing new, right? That's where the 360 contracts, the 360 deals came in. When you understand what the game was, and when the 360 deals came in, that's why that happened that way, right? So, and like I said, they're picturing it or painting it as it means something more for the public, but hopefully it means some more for artists like myself. Like I said, you can check out I got 27 songs that I just dropped on my what I call my greatest hits, from my career of music that I've done, and I've done a gang of songs. But check it out and click on the link. You can go to Spotify and check that out. Like I said, more importantly, and it ain't gonna cost you nothing. Like I said, but this is the thing that I'm talking about. I knew this all along, but I never chose to cry about it. People who gonna like your music, man, they're gonna like your music because you got good music. I would never want anybody to like anything that I got because I manipulated you into liking it, right? But the tactics that the record business employs is way beyond what you could ever think. People say they used to see people in their neighborhood come out and do music, and they be like, "Well, when you gonna be on the radio?" Well, that's bought and paid for. You don't just get on the radio, and it costs millions of dollars to get on the radio. And when you understand that, you will never ask that question. You will then now support your brother, cousin, whoever you think really has good music. Because some people out here just putting out music nowadays just because they got a Pro Tools set, Fruit Loops or whatever they got, and they just going, No, we talk about people who really do this, who really truly have a talent that sets them apart. You know what I mean? Because that's what the game was about at one time. Now you got everybody doing music. The game is so just oversaturated with just garbage. Let's be clear. The game is oversaturated with garbage, man. You know, um, and that's just the way it is. But like I said, these countdown programs to the streaming to Sirius radio stations, well, this week on the countdown, down from number 2 up to number 1 is blah 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 blah. You ain't never heard the record before. How did it get to number 1? It was bought and it was paid for. The listeners had nothing to do with that. Nobody voted for that. None of that actually happened. It's just the way that it is. And when you understand that, you're going to question now and say to yourself, hey, you know what? Man, I like what I like. And I've been listening to what I've been listening to. You know what I mean? Me personally, I still like EPMD. I still like Rakim. I still like Big Daddy Kane. I still like Ice Cube. I still like Scarface when they drop new music. I still like that authentic street corner hip hop that one time or another, whether they had a commercial hit or not, the things that we used to listen to, the things that we vibe to, period. You know what I mean? When you got an underground tape, oh yeah, I got that new such and such. That's why people love Tupac so much, right? Because when Tupac came out, he was just who he was. He never tried to be anything. And it was like he wrote songs from the heart. Brenda's Got a Baby, Dear Mama. All those songs were songs from the heart dealing with the struggle that somehow the record company can take and then make it go mainstream. You know what I mean? Shed So Many Tears. You know what I mean? All of those records, when you talk about great music, great artists, LL Cool J, like I told you, LL just released an album. I love it. I'm listening to that. That's true lyricism. That's true hip hop. That's from one of the originators. Like I said, it doesn't get when I'm listening to LL, I'm like, yo, you know what? If you haven't listened to LL Cool J and you just don't know. You just don't know. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Ice Cube just released a new album. Did you pick up Cube's new album? Cube is just being himself. He's not trying to, cross over to appeal to nobody else. He's dropping music for his day one fans and the people who've been there since the days of NWA. NWA was what? An underground group, right? Yeah. So when we talk about what was the first radio hit, what they had, Respect Yourself, Straight Outta Compton and all of those records right there were just records for the local area, if you will, for LA, but basically the city of Compton, if you want to be perfect. Straight Outta Compton, dealing with all of the other neighborhoods and places that were making music, New York and so the Bronx. And once again, when you understand what that is and what that means, you're gonna have a different perspective. So what does it mean basically for the music lovers and the people who basically consume the music? You know what I'm saying? They're saying, while this drama might seem like insider baseball, its implication extend far beyond the industry. As listeners, we've come to trust that streaming numbers reflects what genuinely is popular, and that's not true. Drake is putting it out there. He's saying that, dude, y'all been manipulated, even dealing with him, right? Even dealing with him, right? As listeners, we've come to trust that the streaming numbers reflect what's genuinely popular. It's not true. We've been hoodwinked, but people don't care. They'll go right back to the same old tactics. It won't really matter. But if those numbers are rigged, listen, if those numbers are rigged, it raises uncomfortable questions about the authenticity of the music we consume. Did you hear that? I'm gonna read it one more time because I don't think that you heard me. While this drama might seem like an insider baseball, right? Its implications extend far beyond the industry. As listeners, we've come to trust that streaming numbers reflect what's genuinely popular. But what Drake is saying with his petition, but if those numbers are rigged, it raises uncomfortable questions about the authenticity of the music that we consume. Drake's fight isn't just his own. It's potentially a landmark moment for every artist who has ever felt steamrolled by the system, whether this ends in a courtroom victory or a negotiated settlement. One thing is clear: the music world will never be the same. It won't be. Y'all been supporting bullshit. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you've been, man, look, if you've been buying into what they told you was popular, man, you'd have been hoodwinked, man. You'd have been hoodwinked. I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of good music out there that people are just not paying attention to. It's funny because, like I said, when you listen to the radio, you like, man, like this is it. There ain't nothing else out there. It's Taylor Swift and Charlie Puth and uh 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 you know all of these other artists and these cornball records that come out, and you be like, what the hell is this? But oh, down from number 2 to number 3 is APT, apatet, you know what I mean, or whatever the hell of that means. Once again, when it came to being substantive and having great music, before you couldn't even get a deal if it was garbage. Man, now it seems like the shit's coming from a garbage disposal. You know what I mean? But it's going the other way. It's coming out of the garbage disposal instead of going down the garbage disposal. And it's being regurgitated right back out here into the public. It's just as simple as that. So, like I said, will it mean anything overall? Will it mean anything overall? From what the Kendrick situation is. And like I said, Kendrick makes great music. I like They Not Like Us. But it also says to the world at large, if you will, when we talk about the music industry in itself, then Drake came, not only that, Drake then came with a second petition where he's talking about suing Universal Music Group for defamation. Come on now. See, this is the part where it gets a little murky for me, because they were dissing each other, right? But the pedophile thing stuck on Drake though. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Wop, 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 wop. You know, when Kendrick hit him with that, it was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then he went to he did the concert at the Forum, right? And it was crazy. It was crazy, man. So once again, Drake files a second bombshell petition against Universal Music Group, right? For Not Like Us, right? On the 26th, Drake escalated his legal battle against Universal Music Group by filing a second petition, this time in Texas. So this petition was filed in Texas. According to Billboard, the Toronto native accused the music giant of defamation over Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, on which the Compton MC alluded to him and his OVO crew as being sex offenders. This comes one day after the Her Lost artist initiated similar legal action in New York. In the latest filing, Drake's lawyers claim UMG funneled payments. Listen, y'all. Once again, we're talking about the underhanded deals of money and all of these underhanded deals and schemes and so on and so forth, right? Drake's lawyers saying that Universal Music Group funneled payments to iHeartRadio. Listen, iHeartRadio, iHeartMedia, your favorite radio stations that you hear all of these songs on. The iHeart Music Festival in Las Vegas. That's one of the festivals that artists come out and they agree to play for the pay. When they do the iHeartRadio Music Festival, the artists are not being paid. That is something they agreed to do in exchange for the marketing promotion. Once again, it's part of the marketing and promotion. But under this situation, right? Drake's lawyers claim that Universal Music Group funneled payments to iHeartMedia Incorporated as part of a scheme to push Not Like Us on radio stations nationwide. Remember the beginning of the interview I just told y'all? I said, look, when they were doing the battle, it was, the underground battle aspect of what it was. Then pretty soon it became a campaign. Then you started to hear Not Like Us on the radio, right? Because they had to edit it now, it had all of the other stuff on there, the little curse word, whatever, and had to edit all of the other stuff out. Then it became a musical campaign. Now, Drake's basically saying, hey, Universal funneled payments to iHeartMedia Incorporated, the same thing that they did for Drake, y'all. Let's be clear. Universal also did the same thing for Drake when Drake was hopping and popular in the most, played radio artists, that's way, and all of the songs that they was paying for him, you know what I mean? And it started from the bottom. Now all of that stuff, they did all of that same thing for Drake. Like I said, when it was lucrative for them to do so, right? So now, but Drake saying, hold on. Universal Music Group funneled payments to iHeartRadio as part of a scheme to push Not Like Us on radio stations nationwide. The petition also asserted that the record label was fully aware of Kendrick Lamar's hit single, which included lines like certified lover boy, certified pedophiles. UMG could have refused to release or distribute the song or required offending material to be edited and or removed. The OVO rappers' legal team argued, but they chose to do the opposite. They designed, listen to me, Drake is saying they designed, financed, and then executed a plan to turn Not Like Us into a viral mega hit. I just told you, stars weren't born, they're made. Listen, once again, Drake knows this because they did it for him. So I'm really paying attention, to what he's saying under what he's saying, but I still think there's a little tinge of hypocrisy going on with this. You understand what I'm saying? Once again, I'm going to say it again. Basically, Drake is saying Universal Music Group could have refused to release or distribute the song or required offending material to be edited and or removed. The OVO rappers' legal team argued, but they chose to do the opposite. Listen to this part. They designed, Drake is saying the record company designed, financed, and then executed a plan to turn Not Like Us into a viral mega hit with the intent of using the spectacle of harm to Drake and his businesses to drive consumer hysteria and, of course, massive revenues. Absolutely, they did that. Because that's what they're in the business of doing. Take you back to 1995. After Tupac got shot at Quad, right? Went to jail. When Tupac went to jail, when he dropped his album, what did his album do? What did Me Against the World do? Me Against the World went to #1. Right? Because Tupac was now a part of infamy, if you will. Here's the guy who talked it, who rapped it, who lived it, got shot, survived it, came out on a gurney with the middle finger up. And it was around the world. Okay, cool. #1 record, beating out Bruce Springsteen. Let's go now. 8 months later, Tupac's release. Made it look like Suge Knight bailed him out, but Universal did. Interscope and Warner Brothers did, right? Made it look like Suge did. Perfect plan. Listen, these are how the schemes and actually things that work. But like I said, a lot of times it's business. But like I said, in what you get to see and what you believe and what you actually know, two different things, right? Boom, Tupac drops. Now he's back. Oh, what Tupac gonna say about what's going on? The Vibe magazine article, Biggie and Puffy on the Vibe magazine article. They use that as a marketing push, and I'm gonna show you how even Tupac had got tired of it. I'm gonna give you the game. Check it out. They use that as a marketing push. Boom, Tupac drops California Love. Boom. He drops in February, he drops All Eyes on Me. Dude, the record did 5 million records of a double album in approximately 2 months. You understand what I'm saying? So this is not far from what it was that was going on even back then when you deal with that. Now, I'm going to show you how Tupac caught on to what was going on. Remember him and Snoop was at the Video Music Awards right before Tupac had got shot, and they were in New York. And they had asked, they were asking questions. MTV was asking questions, and Tupac had the mic. And they were asking about Biggie and Puffy and all of them being there and so on and so on. And Tupac told him, he said, Y'all making this East Coast, West Coast bigger than what it really is. Y'all talking about something that everybody else wouldn't even know about if you didn't mention it. Why do you think those questions were being asked by MTV? Because what? Because it was part of what the industry wide, what was going on, because it sold records. Hunter, I gotta agree with you. Kendrick been a star, but now Kendrick's gonna be a superstar like Drake was. Or like Drake is, should I say. See, it's levels to this, man. And not only, I'm not talking about names and what they call you, I'm talking about the revenue that's gonna be made from you. We're talking money. This ain't about titles. Oh yeah, he's a star. Yeah, okay, right. No, I'm talking about the revenue that's gonna be made. Kendrick's dropping a new album. In 2 months, he's gonna be on the Super Bowl, right? That's elevating one to a superstar status. Back to what I was saying in regards to the Tupac situation. When Tupac said that to the guy in MTV, you go look at it. He said, y'all making this thing bigger than really what it is. You know, from the, y'all talking about the East Coast and West Coast thing that nobody would knew exists if y'all didn't keep mentioning it. Tupac was hip to the game right then and there. You see? And so therefore, when you understand that, Drake, here he comes. Now, he understands the game. But he don't like how the game really played because the game's not being in his favor no more. Drake, if you listen to this, you had your shot. You made millions. Invest your money. Ride off into the sunset. Continue to still make music. It's all good. You know what I mean? They say don't hate the player, hate the game. And that's what it seems like Drake is doing right now. He's really hating the game. We can, you know, maneuver this and make it how it's always been that way. Stars are not born, they're created in the music industry. It's always been that way. Drake came from Degrassi, you know, he didn't write songs. That's why he lost the battle against Kendrick. His turnaround wasn't fast enough. Kendrick could write 3 diss songs in one night. Drake had to wait for somebody to write the lyrics and him to remember the lyrics and then go record the lyrics and then drop it as if it were authentically him. Whoever told him to take that battle misinformed him. He shouldn't have. It doesn't, like I say, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter like about Drake stands and all of this. This is far beyond what they comprehend or understand this to be. This is business. This has nothing to do with who you like, how tight their cornrows are, you know, what kind of car they driving, what's the complexion of their skin, whether they light skin, dark skin. This has nothing to do with that. We're talking about the manipulation of numbers. We're talking about all of the things that have been going on in the music industry for years. And I'm asking once again, what does it mean to Drake now that he's not the center of attention? You understand what I'm saying? Now Kendrick Lamar is the center of attention. Drake, they did a $400 million deal with you. They cashed you out is what they did. Then you did the battle with Kendrick, which they knew you would lose. Right? And so in doing that battle and knowing that you would lose, now Kendrick Lamar is that guy for all intents and purposes. His new record, his new album is a banger. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. You got a joint on there with SWV. Like, yeah, it's a great record. So once again, when you talk about what this means and what it really is, Drake is salty now. You can't be mad, Drake. You made millions. You made hundreds of millions. Right? And now that you did the deal with Universal, you sold what you did, you made a great business decision and all of those things. Now it's Kendrick's time to make the industry more money. They've made all the money that they can basically make off of you. That's basically what they're saying. Because once again, they can use Drake's popularity to injure. They do it all the time. Let me give you a prime example of what I'm talking about. When Drake came in, what did he come in doing? Didn't he do that Sprite commercial with Eminem? Didn't he do a Sprite commercial song with Eminem? Right? They used Eminem's legitimacy and authenticity to introduce Drake to his fans. You can't forget that. One has to understand how the game works. Right? So when you understand that, Drake came in, did the Sprite commercial, Eminem, all of the things that, the people that was dealing with him, the people were established in the game. And then now, once he came in, he blew up. He made millions. He was with Wayne, Little Wayne vouched for him, right? Boom. Young Money, the whole 9 yards. Did the deal, got away from that, then went straight over there with Universal with his own company now. It's the same game. So Drake can't be mad. And once again, when you talk about this situation, how it really ran down, there's a lot of truth to what it's in this petition, right? Right? Similar to what Drake's Frozen Moments LLC, the company that's actually filing the lawsuit, right? Similar to what Drake's Frozen Moments LLC filed in New York, the Texas case isn't a full-fledged lawsuit. So Drake hasn't filed a lawsuit. He's filing a petition. He's trying to get people in for depositions and things like that, to see if he can gather enough evidence where he can actually file a lawsuit, right? It's a pre-action petition aimed at securing depositions from UMG and iHeartMedia executives. Drake's lawyers added that they already possess sufficient evidence for defamation, but seek further details potentially to pursue additional claims, including civil fraud and racketeering, right? As Revolt, the channel Revolt previously revealed, Universal Music Group dismissed the accusations from the first petition, calling them offensive and untrue. And Universal basically came out and said, we employ the highest ethical practices in our marketing and promotional campaigns. Like I told y'all before, is marketing and promotion. They consider it, right? Marketing, promotional campaigns. The company said, no amount of contrived and absurd legal arguments in this pre-action submission can mask the fact that fans choose the music they want to hear. Now, once again, I'm going to tell you straight up and down, that's not true. That's a lie. I can't. You know what I mean? Universal saying that the fans choose the music that they want to hear. It's a lie. That's not true. Come on. And whoever, they could have wrote this statement right here a little bit better than they wrote it. Whoever wrote that statement, the fans don't choose the music that they want to hear. The music is played 100 times on the radio, and you never have to request it at all. You know what I mean? Let's be clear. It's never been that way. It's never been that way, right? The artists are chosen. If that was the artists are chosen, signed, and they sit around. There's a whole team of people that sit around and tell you what's going to be the first single. The fans didn't choose the first single. They didn't choose that music that they wanted to hear. And so for them to say that is not true. iHeartMedia hasn't commented on the filing, and Kendrick Lamar, wasn't listed as a defendant or accused of any crime. So once again, most people thought that, that they were suing Kendrick Lamar, that Drake was suing Kendrick Lamar. Once again, that would in the YouTube world, that would get a little bit more traction. Oh, Drake suing Kendrick for calling him a pedophile. You know what I mean? Once again, how things are kind of misstated in order to be conflated or inflated, should I say, as far as views and things like that are concerned. So once again, Drake basically, like I'm gonna tell you like this, Drake, when you listen to this, man, I understand that you are trying to do the right thing, but this was long when he was riding high on the horse, he didn't do it. So it comes with a tinge of hypocrisy. It comes at the tail end of a big loss in the Kendrick Lamar battle, minus what Universal and all of the other radio stations. They did the same thing for Drake that they did for Kendrick. But it seems to be that the fact that Drake doesn't like that they did it on his back. But like I said, once again, Drake came in on somebody else's back, Eminem, as well as everybody else. The formula may have not been the same, right? But it was from the same lab. I'm gonna say it again. The formula in which they used, right, to bring Kendrick about, you have the battle with him and all of that. The formula may not have been the same as when Drake got introduced and was dealing with Eminem, Timbaland, and all of these other people that introduced him, that made him something soft to digest. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this cat Drake, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. Over all of the artists that were perhaps better than Drake, right? They set Drake up for success. And they did the same thing for Kendrick Lamar, right? But once again, the material was par for the course. Like they said, the young man just said in the chat that that Kendrick was already a star. Yet one thing to be a star, another thing to be a superstar, and go around the world and do worldwide tours and sell out arenas like Drake was doing. Drake was selling out arenas. You understand what I'm saying? It's a whole nother thing to be on that level. And once again, people forget that this is about the bottom line. This is not about like, yo, the title of a star. It's at the end of the day, what's going into those universal coffers and making money for everybody. Remember, when you are on iHeartRadio on their stations, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be at that iHeart Music Festival in Las Vegas. And you're not getting paid for it, right? That's part of the music and marketing campaign to build you up for the public audience, to make you the spectacle that you are, so that now you can go out on tour and make money for the music industry. That's what it is. It's always been like that, right? Ice-T, described it best. He said it's a pimp or hoe game. It's just how much you're going to get pimped for. You know what I mean? And that goes for each and every artist in the game. And so when you understand that and you do the right things with your money, right, you can be as successful as Sean Puffy Combs. Hopefully you don't make the moves of a Sean Puffy Combs. You understand what I'm saying? It's not having money, it's what you do with it. And money doesn't make you smarter, So with this situation being here, we're going to stay tuned to see what happens. I say it gets settled. I say Universal makes some kind of out-of-court settlement, and it just goes away and nothing really happens, man. That would be something that I could see, like I said, because these executives are going to have to go in for depositions and all of this, and it's one big debacle. I think it's going to hurt Drake. Well, not I think it's going to hurt Drake. It's hurt him already by making these accusations against these big corporations that make millions of dollars, and they have been running this business. Because like I said, they're saying Drake is alleging that this is a criminal organization. The stuff that they have been doing is criminal. It's criminal. It's unethical and it's criminal, right? But he's saying that now that it no longer really benefits him and it's benefiting Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar will be at the Super Bowl. Kendrick Lamar has a new album coming out. The new singles popping, everybody loving it. Like I said, so we're going to stay tuned to see what happens with this, man. Yeah, 50 Cent's biggest song was In the Club. Be clear. Let's be clear. Oh, yeah. Like I said, the AI thing is taking on a whole new thing. Drake showed that when he did try to use the Tupac AI thing to diss Kendrick and the Snoop thing to diss Kendrick, and it just simply didn't work. You know what I mean? That was another wrong move. That I don't know who Drake was listening to with that. You know what I mean? But that was another wrong move. And then Tupac's estate then threw down the cease and desist in regards to what that was. And like I said, that was the beginning of the end, if you will. So like I said, yeah, it's crazy, man. We're going to see what happens with this, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Your boy, DELRAY, straight game.